So I don't know why MK's been on my mind like that. Actually, I lied. I do know. It's because of the new game that's out. It's downloading right now. Mortal Kombat has been subliminally brainwashing me ever since I was a little ass kid. The first time I ever had an experience with a series was like MK9, as did most of the more, I guess, casual fans of the series. Obviously before that it was MK versus DC, but nah, for me, Mortal Kombat 9 was the first one I actually got my hands on. You know, I was that little brother that just had to sit back and watch his older bro handle business. And I tried to play the story mode, I couldn't even get past Smoke's part. And I remember that to this day as one of my biggest regrets and mistakes. You know, them ones that you're about to sleep and you just remember something you did years ago. For me, it was never getting past that moment. Okay, now I'm trying to share. With every new video game movie, there's always the talk about the curse. The curse, bro. If you don't know what that is, basically it's a recurring thing when video games try to go mainstream and make movies, in that they always fail. In our common era, this curse has definitely been broken a couple times by now. Doesn't mean that the trend is suddenly gone. It's not an issue with video games themselves, it's more like certain franchises shouldn't be made into movies. They might fit better in a TV show or a cartoon. It's like video games are already catered towards a specific audience. Trying to rip it apart and put it back together in a way that more casual moviegoers can like too can yield very ugly results. Especially with something like Mortal Kombat. Franchise built on rebelling against normalcy with its extreme violence. MK has so much lore and characters spanning many games. How are you gonna fit all of that into like 2 hours? I mean, nowadays you'll see video games becoming more and more like movies, so in a few years we won't even need video game movies anymore. Regardless though, how did that Mortal Kombat movie do? For those of you who haven't seen the movie, it's on Netflix, that's where I watched it. But for those of you who can't be asked, I'll recap some of it, I guess. Heavy spoilers ahead, but you probably wouldn't be watching this if you cared about all of that. So basically, throughout history, all of Earth's greatest fighters have been assembled to take part in a martial arts tournament called Mortal Kombat against another world called Outworld. You're only allowed to fight in this tournament if you have the dragon mark. My question is, why are movie makers so scared to stick to the law of a video game franchise? Like, sure, it's wacky and weird, but trying to force it to be something else just makes it shit. For many years at this point, Outworld have been winning every tournament. At the start of the movie, they've won it like 9 times, moving like Prime United. They win it again, they get to conquer Earth or Earthrealm, and it seems pretty likely, I can't lie. Earthrealm is slacking, but here's the catch. Outworld's ruler Shang Tsung, come on, keep up man, is a dirty stinking cheater, and he keeps assassinating all of Earthrealm's fighters before the tournament even starts. We follow Cole Young, an MMA fighter who's slowly falling out of the limelight as he discovers that he's been chosen for this tournament. He aligns himself with our classic MK character, ex-military Sonya Blade and Jax Briggs. All three are then recruited by Lord Raiden, who's the protector of Earthrealm, along with his disciples Liu Kang and Kung Lao. And I can't forget about Kano. He's kinda like some terrorist. They make up Earthrealm's fighters in the Mortal Kombat tournament. And so, the plot is that Shang Tsung is trying to kill Cole and the others to conquer Earthrealm. Raiden is not trying to have it this time, and so he wants to train the Earthrealm fighters so they can actually win. Cole must overcome the fact that he's not that guy anymore in order to become that guy. There's other mini arcs in here as well, but we'll discuss that when we get to the characters section. Oh, and there's a prophecy as well. This is probably the biggest change from MK. It usually does deal with like chosen ones and such, but this is a little different. And this prophecy is so shit as well. Like, when I think of prophecies, it's some vague shit that can apply to everyone. This one is just straight up so specific about who the chosen one is. It's like not even a prophecy, it's just a statement. I feel like Raiden made this prophecy up on the spot, but we'll get onto that later. Before I get called out again, no, it's not a crazy issue, and I did feel like the prophecy was explained, that like I do get it. So it wasn't random, I'm just taking the piss. As I said, we'll get into the prophecy a bit later. The start of the movie picks up at the Shirai Ryu compound where we meet Hanzo Hasashi. If you don't know who this is, like, bro, just kill yourself. Something that immediately caught me off guard though was the date. Obviously, I'm not the craziest on MK lore, but since when was Scorpion from the 1600s? Is that a thing they just did for the movie? Why? I mean, to be honest, it is cool, but it's hella weird when Sub-Zero just appears in the movie later and he's like 400 years old. Like, is he a Revenant too? Damn, I just clocked I'm acting like Cinema Sins. Okay, forget that. Scorpion and Sub-Zero stuff is cool, like consistently good. Some people complained about the costumes, but to me they're cold. But I do want to talk about this opening scene for a bit because it really impressed me. Anyway, Sub-Zero going by Bihan at the start of the movie is Shang Tsung's #1 hitman. This guy is serious. He just rolls up to the Shirai Rai's compound. And I don't mean he snuck up in the middle of the night or some shit. No, this brother rocks up like...
Yo, let's have it.
Let's fucking have it.
I mean, the Shirai Rai were just slacking. Like, where's the defense? You man ain't got like spikes or something. Like, even like a door would probably work. How do you let them catch you like that in broad day? Hanzo carried hard. He stepped out in his sliders and took out like 4 man. This guy would have been unstoppable if Bihan wasn't there. The Sub-Zero versus Scorpion fight is crazy though. This is something I really like about this movie, in that everyone stays consistently the same level within their fights. What I mean is, like in anime or some shit, if someone gets a power up, suddenly the enemy they're fighting is just fodder. Here, everyone is kind of like on equal footing even if they power up. Like, Sub-Zero beats Hanzo here, but later in the movie when he gets beaten himself, it's not unbelievable that he lost. And his victory here was hard earned. Hanzo wasn't a pushover. So obviously Bihan just smacks him silly. I hate though how they made him purely evil in this movie. In the games I always got the feeling that Bihan was just a prick.
I will have my revenge, but I will not kill Sub-Zero.
Will not. Or cannot.
You! The Shirai Ryu are dead. You will suffer as they did.
To hell with your clan.
No, to hell with you!
Like he was just on BT 24/7, but he actually wasn't evil. Anyway, I'ma say it, this is a good opening to a movie. Not even for Mortal Kombat or video games, I mean movies as a whole. The choreography, dialogue, everything is just on point, like KSI style.
Oh, Famalams, it's a madness.
The rest of the movie is much the same, I can't lie. Choreography and action is consistently good, like really good. Maybe I don't watch enough movies, but I'm also someone who loses interest very easily. If you keep me engaged, trust me, you're winning. But the plot is kinda basic, but that's also accurate. The plot to the first Mortal Kombat game was literally just a tournament. For me, it wasn't that deep. So what grinds my gears, if you will, is the changes that they made. I feel like they were so unnecessary. You know when stuff is explained when it really doesn't need to be? That's what these changes felt like. So Mortal Kombat usually has magical characters or characters with powers. I don't think that this stuff needs to be attributed to an explanation. If a world has a lot of characters with powers in it, you can just assume that the world has a magical nature to it. But here they try to explain that all the powers that MK characters have in fact comes from a thing called Arcana, which comes from the mark only chosen people are given. I think this explanation sucks because the powers that they give are completely random. It's not like it's based off of your personality or there's only certain powers you can get. No, it's completely random. Like Kano, a highlight of this movie, I'ma just say now, he gets a flipping laser beam. What? In the games, Kano has cybernetic implants, which is the reason he has eye beams, but here it's just superpowers. And Kung Lao, what's his powers? Teleportation. The fuck? And somehow both of these completely different powers given to completely different characters can be traced to the same source. I think that sucks, having one magical source for your magical powers. Another thing I'm gonna talk about is the references. Bro, they were so good. Like it was corny, but in a good way. There's a scene where Kung Lao just destroys Nitara, and after that the camera zooms in and he's like, flawless victory. Like, who says that? But it was actually perfect at the same time. It's something you can only get away with because of the source material. Another scene was the leg sweep scene. You must know what I'm talking about, man. Ever play a Mortal Kombat game and you just spam down X or down A, I think on Xbox? They literally have Liu Kang do it in real life. I'm surprised to say that shit actually made me laugh. There's some good enjoyment in this movie. The last thing I'll talk about is the visual effects / CGI. I don't have much to complain about in this department, only with Jax's arms. Certain people just waste too much money on CGI. Jax's upgraded arm should have been practical, like some tight metallic looking shirt just to give him them bulging muscles. Pause. Also, Reptile should have been given a human form, at least I feel like. I mean, who doesn't want to save money, bro? But yeah, let's move into a more in-depth talk about the characters.
So you play hide and seek?
Generally, I have no complaints when it comes to the characters. I think they were very well done, with only some exceptions that I'll get into. Why have Cole Young? Johnny Cage is literally right there. Would have been way more charismatic and enjoyable for a more general audience. Would have had the same plot with him not wanting to join the tournament / not being strong enough until he unlocks his green powers. I guess they really wanted a way to tie Scorpion into the story somehow. If you're unaware, Cole Young is our chosen one. He's a descendant of Hanzo Hasashi. Throughout the movie, he gets a bunch of glimpses of Scorpion and blah blah blah. Don't get me wrong, I don't have an issue with the actor or really Cole himself. I just do think that Johnny Cage would have been far more suited to that main character role, because Cole serves as the audience's eyes. He's essentially there, so we have a clueless character from whom we can experience the world as he does. Johnny Cage could have been molded into this role just as easily, especially considering the ties to Sonya and Jax that Cole has in the movie. Cole does have some really good action scenes. The fight with Goro is another instance where a character delivers on what they're hyped up to do. I'm talking about Goro, by the way. He was handling Cole even when this guy was Super Saiyan. Why the flip does this guy use his door as the guy in the corner? I don't even know what that was called in MMA. He's just a shit parent, bro. Cold. I ain't got much else to say character-wise. He was consistently good. Definitely a highlight. Too bad he's related to Cole though. But yeah, in regards to the prophecy, the killing of Hanzo is what activates it. At least that's what I've been thinking. But the prophecy is stated to be ancient. And 17th century Japan doesn't seem ancient to me. To explain, since Outworld have won it 9 times, they expect to win it a 10th time. But the prophecy says because of Hanzo's blood, Earthrealm will unite and beat Outworld. This is what Shang Tsung is trying to prevent. Because of Cole though, Mr. Sung fails. And Cole actually summons Scorpion in the last fight so they can tag team Sub-Zero. Wait. Bihan was on violence. He destroys the Shirai Ryu, he disrespects Jax, and even holds his own in a 2v1 with Scorpion and Cole. I just wish there was a little more to him than just being a henchman. I also wish that Bihan got more speaking lines, because this guy is low-key the funniest guy in MK because he's just always on smoke.
The Shiroi Ryu are dead. You will suffer as they did.
To hell with your clan.
No!
That is not me.
I don't know why Jax thought he could take him on. When Sub-Zero went into that building, he knew he was challenging him, and he still went. Me, I'm cutting, bro. That last fight, though, was a real highlight. Sub-Zero versus Scorpion. The movie makers did not hold back. I did like Cole in this moment as well. I thought him and Scorpion were a sick duo, and Sub-Zero was just cold for being able to handle both of them. The design of Jax is so recognizable in any media format. It's just some bolo black guy upside down. Not much to say about Jax though. Like, he was pretty cool, pretty accurate to his character. Well done in my opinion. Sonya as well, I liked her little arc with how she hadn't been gifted with a mark, and so she had to go and earn hers as well. She does unlock her Ankana very quickly though, after the characters were shown to be struggling with it as well. I like their backstories in this as well, with all the extra lore of how Mortal Kombat has been referenced throughout history in many different cultures. It's very, very creative. As much as I dislike the marks, I do like the idea of marks being transferred if you kill someone with a mark. The little backstory that they give to Jax was very interesting. Kind of makes you wonder what Mortal Kombat character he encountered, because it wasn't Earthrealm. Kano. Perfect casting choice in my opinion. And as I said before, I just love how they fleshed out his character a bit, making him an artist and shit. Those are some good additions to pre-existing material. I don't know if I'm bugging yet, but I feel like the acting for Raiden was a bit off at some times. But apart from that, he was pretty accurate to the source material with how he acts like he plays by the rules, but sometimes he wants to bend them to his whim. Liu Kang was probably my favorite character here. He was just sick. But Kung Lao was my biggest surprise. In the games, he's usually a bit overshadowed by Liu Kang. He even dies like at the start of MK9. But here, they really lean into the idea that Kung Lao is the false chosen one, with him being arrogant and unserious like he is in the games. But he's also a very skilled fighter and cold as fuck. That scene with Natara that I mentioned earlier is just crazy. And for the whole first part of the movie, Kung Lao was really that guy. He was so much of that guy that they had to kill him off in a really good scene as well. The callback to the earlier Mortal Kombat movies. His and Liu's relationship was also a highlight. I'm gonna gloss over Outworld because they have so many characters. Shang Tsung, I really wasn't convinced at first, but late into the movie, and especially when he killed Kung Lao, I was like, damn, this is pretty good cinema. The other characters felt like generic fodder, more on the level of Bihan. If Bihan wasn't Sub-Zero, I felt like I wouldn't hold him in a high regard either. It's a shame though, because you have characters like Melina who are very interesting in the lore of Mortal Kombat. Here she's just... What is wrong with her mouth though? Was it actually that hard to give her some shark teeth or something? Kabal was blessed differently. Wish we got a little more to him though, considering he is from Earthrealm. Why is he on the opposite side, you know? Got some questions about that. But we're not gonna talk about Reiko. So the director of this movie was Simon McCoy, I think that's how you pronounce it. And this was his directorial debut. When this movie initially came out, I remember that being a bit of an issue. A lot of people thought that that meant that this movie was going to be bad. I mean, it is kind of peak. Giving a beloved franchise like MK to a first-time director is kind of disrespectful. But all in all, it's not bad. It's not crazily good either. It's just aight. It didn't do too well in the box office either. But to be honest, I wouldn't know too much about that. I think it just basically determines if they can make a sequel. You know what I hate in media though? When they act like they're gonna get a sequel with an end credits or last scene tease. Obviously that kind of stuff is inspired by the MCU. But with the MCU, yeah, even if some movies do shit, they can just make a Spider-Man 4 or just a next Avengers and still make back billions. But despite not doing well commercially, this movie is still getting a sequel. So that's something. I think there is a lot of potential though. So overall, what's the score? I don't really believe in giving numbers like that because it can get pretty inconsistent easily. I'll just say it's good! But yeah, Reiko is ugly as fuck, bro.